Fresh from his triumph at the Granicus, Alexander III of Macedon stood poised to conquer Asia Minor. Yet, before he could march deeper into the vast Achaemenid Empire, the young king faced a critical challenge: securing the Aegean coast and neutralizing Persia's naval dominance. The sieges of Miletus and Halicarnassus would test the Macedonian war machine's ability to adapt, revealing Alexander's strategic genius and unyielding determination to reshape the ancient world. The news of Alexander's victory at the Granicus spread rapidly, prompting the mercenary garrison at Ephesus to flee with a court rival, Amyntas, aboard stolen warships. Marching from Sardis, Alexander captured Ephesus in 3 days without resistance, rendezvoused with his Hellenic League fleet, and received submissions from Lydian towns. To solidify his hold, he sent Parmenion and Alcimachus with thousands of troops to install democratic governments in Greek cities, depose oligarchies, and cancel taxes, a populist move to win local support. Alexander's next target was Miletus, whose governor, Hegesistratus, initially offered surrender but reneged upon learning of an approaching Persian fleet. Acting swiftly, Alexander recalled his generals and marched south, while his 160-ship fleet anchored at the island of Lade, blocking the harbor. The Persian armada of 400 ships arrived days later, but, unable to dislodge the Greeks from Lade or access fresh water, anchored ineffectively at Mount Mycale. Alexander blockaded Miletus's inner districts and prepared siege weaponry. When a citizen proposed making Miletus an open city, Alexander rejected the offer, demanding a fight. At dawn, his catapults and battering rams breached the walls, though the garrison's missile fire initially repelled the assault. Admiral Nicanor's fleet then sailed into the harbor mouth, unnerving the defenders. As the walls crumbled, Macedonian infantry stormed the city, killing soldiers and some civilians. About 300 mercenaries escaped to an offshore islet, later surrendering and receiving mercy, a lesson learned from Granicus. The Persian fleet, unable to intervene, sailed to Samos, leaving Miletus to Alexander. In a bold strategic move, Alexander disbanded his fleet, retaining only 20 Athenian triremes for siege equipment transport. Distrusting the Greek crews and unable to match Persia's naval might, he chose to conquer coastal cities to neutralize their sea power from land. This risky decision forced his army to fight with no retreat, intensifying their resolve as they marched toward Halicarnassus, a heavily fortified city harboring Memnon of Rhodes and a swollen garrison. En route to Halicarnassus, Alexander stopped at Alinda, where he allied with the exiled Carian princess Ada, promising to restore her as satrap in exchange for regional loyalty. Approaching Halicarnassus's Mylassa gate, he faced formidable defenses: crenellated walls, a moat, and Memnon's seasoned mercenaries. Without his siege train, initially blocked by Persian naval supremacy, Alexander scouted the defenses, repelling a skirmisher sortie. When the siege engines arrived, Alexander filled the moat and battered the walls with towers and rams. Memnon's forces resisted fiercely, holding breaches with archers and infantry. A night raid by Memnon to burn Macedonian siege equipment failed when sentinels raised the alarm, resulting in heavy losses on both sides. Days later, a drunken brawl by 2 Macedonian soldiers escalated into a chaotic clash, nearly breaching the weakened Mylassa wall. But the unprepared army failed to capitalize. In a desperate final gambit, Memnon sent 2,000 troops under Ephialtes to counterattack, burning siege engines and striking Macedonian flanks. Alexander's forces wavered until his veteran reserve intervened, crushing Ephialtes' phalanx and killing hundreds. The defenders, demoralized, routed, and some were trapped outside as gates closed. Recognizing defeat, Memnon burned supplies, evacuated to seaboard citadels, and sailed away, leaving Halicarnassus ablaze. Alexander entered, saved civilians from the fire, and appointed Ada as satrap, leaving troops to contain remaining Persian strongholds. Though not detailed in this campaign, Alexander's legendary cutting of the Gordian Knot, an intractable puzzle symbolizing his destiny to rule Asia, occurred around this time, further cementing his mythic status. This act, whether by sword or cunning, underscored his relentless drive to overcome all obstacles. The sieges of Miletus and Halicarnassus showcased Alexander's ability to adapt and overcome. By capturing key coastal cities, he crippled Persia's naval operations, securing his rear for the march inland. His bold decision to disband the fleet and focus on land conquests paid off, proving his army's supremacy in sieges and battles alike. Yet, as he appointed Ada and gazed eastward, Darius III's massive army loomed, promising a clash that would define an era. Alexander's legend grew, but the true test of his ambition awaited at Issus,